So I'm not a superstitious person, but I will tell you the one superstition I believe in is knocking on wood. So let me tell you what happened. We have a book coming out, which is very exciting, and I will get back to that. But I was editing a chapter on vomiting and diarrhea and how to treat that in dogs. And while I was editing, I thought to myself, oh, we really haven't had a lot of problems with Daisy and vomiting and diarrhea yet. Okay, less than 24 hours later, Daisy randomly just woke up from a nap, went into the middle of the floor, started retching, and vomited. Just completely out of nowhere. And it all happened so fast. I remember I was sitting on the couch and she got down and I was like, she's retching. I gotta get her out of here. I didn't move fast enough. It all just happened so fast. And for the next 2 days, it was all downhill from there. I didn't knock on wood. And so for the next little bit, probably for the rest of the day, Daisy had vomited 1 or 2 more times and just was really uncomfortable, couldn't settle down. You could just tell she was not feeling good. This is Daisy. She has just thrown up twice in the last hour. You can just tell she's not comfortable at all. She's not relaxing. We've put her on a hard floor with her blanket. I'm sitting in here with her because she tends to Velcro to me, especially when she's in discomfort. She keeps licking her nose. She will stand up underneath the table, and generally she just can't settle down. She was sitting in the kitchen. I moved her in the kitchen because if she were to throw up, I wanted to be able to have her on hardwood floor or, be able to get her outside quickly. By the next morning, Daisy still wasn't feeling well. She wasn't throwing up or vomiting anymore, but she also hadn't eaten. So she hadn't eaten in over 24 hours because she had her breakfast the morning she got sick and didn't eat again after that, and she still didn't want to eat. At that point, we decided to take her to the vet, and the vet, they wanted to do blood work. They wanted to do an x-ray on her. So we decided just to wait it out and see if Daisy would get better. I also, before we went to the vet, I had given Daisy some Zofran. Whenever we get our hands on some Zofran, I'm keeping this because it always comes in handy. And so I was thinking it's so harmless that I can probably give Daisy some Zofran. So I did a little research and I read a study that was done on dogs with Zofran. Scientists gave the dog Zofran, and they gave it 100 times the human dosage of Zofran, and the dog had no side effects. So I thought, okay, this is going to be safe to give her. So I had an 8 milligram dosage of Zofran, which I cut into 4, and I gave it to Daisy, and after that she was able to settle down and just rest. It put her at ease a little bit. Anyways, I talked to the vet about that, and she said that was a great idea, that Zofran is actually great for sick dogs, and to just keep giving that to her every 6 hours. So we did that. Then the next morning, she wasn't throwing up anymore, but she had started to have diarrhea, that was just a mess, let me tell you. Thankfully, she did not have diarrhea inside the house. At that point, we kept her outside and we stayed out there with her just to help her stay calm and comfortable, but it was running down her butt. It was wet. It was just so gross. And so we had to wash her every time she pooped. And at that point we decided, since she wasn't eating, she still hadn't eaten, it was going on 36 hours of her not having food or water, we decided we would take her to the vet again. So we're on our second trip to the vet. Mind you, this is during coronavirus. I couldn't go in with Daisy to the vet. I brought 4 kids with me and sat in the car while they examined Daisy, that was miserable. Sitting in the car with 4 kids and a sick dog at the vet. So the vet suspected a uterine infection, which would usually happen after a heat cycle, but Daisy hadn't just been through a heat cycle. And that to actually find out if it was a uterine infection, they would have had to do an x-ray. And then, that was all just going to take so long, and I was just getting anxious with my 4 kids in the car. So I said, why don't you do some blood work and we'll go from there. So they did some blood work. They got the results back within like 20 minutes, and they said that her liver and her kidneys were still functioning. Everything else on her blood work looked great. So we just took Daisy home, decided to wait it out. The vet prescribed us some medication to help stop the diarrhea, which did help, but it also made her very, very gassy. So that wasn't fun. So, and she slowly got better from there. After that second trip to the vet, things got a lot better. So I'm going to take you through 6 steps to help your bulldog recover from a stomach bug. So step 1, when they first start throwing up, take away any food. No more treats, no more nothing. Even if they feel like eating, which they probably won't want to eat anyways, just take it all away, because they are going to need to really just empty their system. They need to get it all out. So after that first 24 hours, you can begin to offer small things like rice or plain chicken. They might not want it, and that's okay. They might not just be ready to eat. I would say if they're not ready to eat after like 3 days, you should be concerned. It took Daisy like 2.5 days to be ready to eat, and even then she wasn't eating a lot. So first 24 hours, no food. You can continue to offer them water, but they might not want to drink it, and that's okay. Daisy didn't drink anything for like 2 days, and the vet still said that she was okay, that she still seemed hydrated, so don't worry too much about that. Step 2 is to take them into an enclosed area where the floor is hard, because that's where you're gonna, if they're gonna vomit or have diarrhea, it'll just make your life so much easier. Obviously, you put like a blanket or a pillow down for them to make them comfortable, but just to make your life easier, I would really just keep them enclosed in a hard area. You can see where I put Daisy. It wasn't uncomfortable. It wasn't mean. It was just for my sanity. And I have kids running around too, and I didn't want them getting into any kind of mess or having a mess on my carpet. Step 3, you can administer Zofran. Like I said, if you happen to have any Zofran, you can administer Zofran to them. Daisy ended up taking about 2 milligrams every 6 hours, and it really helped to put her at ease and help her rest and settle down. If you don't have any, I know the vet can prescribe you some, and so don't be afraid to ask for any. Step 4, try to keep them hydrated. You can offer Gatorade, a diluted Gatorade solution, so half Gatorade, half water. Keep that out in a dish for them. If your dog does happen to want to drink, they might not, but the electrolytes in the Gatorade will help keep them hydrated. And step 5, this is the eating step. Once they have started to recover, and you'll notice them perk back up. You'll see it. They'll be ready to eat. They'll be more playful and happy. And so what you can feed them while they're recovering, I would stick with plain chicken and plain rice. So for their first meal, do a half portion. So if your dog eats a cup of food at their meal, give them a half cup of chicken, and that's it. Chicken or rice, not both. Just try to keep it plain and simple. For Daisy, we did a half cup plain shredded chicken. I put some in, I just boiled it and with some vegetable broth, and that was it. I shredded it up and I put some in her dish, and then I saved some for her next meal. The next meal again will be the same thing, half cup plain chicken or a half portion of plain chicken or rice. And then, so that's the first 24 hours. So that's their first 2 meals. The second day, give them a full portion of food, but again, half chicken, half rice. So I mixed it, half cup chicken, half cup rice, and that was Daisy's meal for the next day. And then the third day, I did a half portion of rice and a half portion of her dry dog food. So Daisy gets 1 cup of food at each meal. So it was a half cup rice, half cup normal dog food to start integrating that back into her diet. And then I did that for her dinner as well. And then by the 4th day, she was back to her normal diet again. So 1 cup normal dog food at each meal. And that's how we got her energy back up. And surprisingly, through all of this, Daisy only lost 2 pounds. So if you worry about your dog not eating, not drinking, they will be okay. They will make a recovery. And it will take a few days for them. If they've been really sick, it'll take a few days for them to fully recover and be fully ready to eat. But don't worry, it'll be okay. We still don't know what made Daisy sick. It wasn't a uterine infection. It wasn't a mushroom. Could have been something in the irrigation water. Those are my tips for helping your dog through a sickness. It's no fun. It is no fun at all. Paying for last minute vet bills is no fun. And we've always preached, get your dog insurance. And now we're going to practice what we preach. We are signing up for some dog insurance, and I will link an article that we have going over a couple different plans. And if your dog is sick, good luck. Be sure to be kind and extra patient with them. I know it's no fun for them, and it's also really hard to keep cleaning all of that up and help them through it, especially if they can't talk to you. But they will be okay, and they'll be ready to play with you again in a few days. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. Drop them in the comment below. I'm usually pretty quick about answering them. Sick dogs are no fun, and I will be here to help you if I can.